So again, by putting more distance with the dog from me, it makes the dog a little bit more independent to have to do this fight on its own, right? And as I try to do the out, I will talk about the out in a second. We'll just do another run, then we'll talk about the out. Good take. Reverse. Good reverse. So it goes to kick, she goes to the leg, because he's going to kick, comes back to the arm. Good reverse, stop fighting the dog or call her off. Sharp, out. Fuyet, out. Cheap shot. Let's go. Fuyet, out. Seats. Fuyet, seats. Good seats. Flux. Flux. Good flux. All right, so one of these things on the out, James, will just come over here for a second. So one of the things on the out is if I'm coming up, and I know there's different techniques for this, so if I'm going to come up and leave the dog on the bite to put the handcuffs on the person, right, then that's one technique for if the bad guy, or if I'm by myself with the bad guy, then I can leave the dog on the bite till I can get my handcuffs on, then I can remove the dog. But even at that point, once the dude's in the handcuffs, if I have to take my hands off the bad guy to then put them on the dog's hardware to remove the dog, right, there's a moment where I'm in a vulnerable position, right, because I'm being multitasked between handling my dog and working the bad guy. One of the things, if possible, that we like to work in our training is when I approach, so especially if I'm coming up and holding security, I approach, and I come in a position where I'm here ready to go hands-on with the guy, and if I call the dog out, I want the dog to come out without me having to touch the dog. And I know in real life that doesn't always work out like that because the dog's ramped up. Like you can see even here, she tries to get a couple more cheap shots in on the way out. But we start working that in, and my thought process on it is this. If the dog has been training to come out without me manually grabbing the hardware, then when I do have to come in and touch the dog's hardware, the dog's like, ooh, I'm getting in trouble, right? And if I need to, if I do come and get hands on, if I touch the dog's hardware, it's like, whoa, whoa, okay, I'm off, right? Best case scenario is I can come in and manhandle the dog, right? Or manage the dog, not manhandle the dog, manage the dog without touching it. So even if my partner is over here putting the handcuffs on, it's better for my partner as he's putting the handcuffs on. If I'm standing here like this, I go out, do stuff, and the dog comes off and gets in a position, and my hands are still free to manage my firearm or anything else like that, whatever, or even if my hands are just clear, I can now better defend my partner if the person goes non-compliant again, right, or tries to sneak a weapon or does something like that. And at this point, my dog can always re-engage because I'm not holding on to the dog, right? And I still have a better tactical advantage of managing the bad guy as we go through this. Does that make sense? Right? So it's just something to consider. Maybe you work that into your training, maybe you don't. Right? So now what we're going to do is as we go through the process of working those bites and working that reverse, right, to counteract or to counter the weapons, we then come back and now try to stabilize. So again, I wouldn't keep doing that over and over again like you just saw. You see what she recognizes it, and then from here we might do 20 more, like the next 20 iterations. There is no weapon. So that way she starts building back into like, I'm going to stay on that bite and I'm going to, stay in there. Then we start having him grab her, try to pick her up, right? You saw the thing when he tried to step her over because she's been put in a position where she's been locked and starts to get choked. So if he goes to step over, she then transitions to his knee, hammers his knee, then comes back to the arm, right? Just to stop him from trying to get that counterattack on her, right? So now we come in, we start working our stability. So I say leave it, good, leave it. Okay, Fuyet. Okay, so she gives him a little nudge. If she does it again, I'm going to give her a pop. Now, obedience is obedience. I don't allow her to start making judgment calls on what she wants to do and then go, seats, and go, oh, well, my dog's so hardcore that I can't walk around the guy in the bite suit because she's just going to smash him because that's what she does. And it's like, you can do that, but remember, say what you mean and mean what you say. When we talk about communication, right? If I say leave it, I mean leave it. I didn't say leave it going, leave it, but if you go and give him a little bite, then it's okay because I understand that you're ramped up. Does it make sense? It's no, if I say leave it, you leave it. I meant what I said, and I said it because I meant it, right? So there's no difference in this. Just because she's ramped up, I don't make excuses for her and lie to myself because the only reason she's doing it is because I'm allowing it to happen. I'm being that crappy babysitter again, like I had those girls doing the handstand competition. Like, that's what I'm doing. I start to let her be the one who dictates how this looks versus me taking dominion and dictating